Hi there, I'm James Dapperchi, and this is Coffee and a Case Note. Unconditional agreements. Team, this is an interesting one today. We've got a few parties involved. Right, we've got a property that's being developed. We've got our defendant today, and our defendant is a real estate agent. And we've got our plaintiff, and our plaintiff is an investor. And as this development's progressing, our defendant real estate agent is very, very interested because he is very likely to be appointed as the selling agent. And there are a significant number of units. And so his commercial impetus is that he would like the development to progress in order for him to generate an income. So the sole way he is going to see any return on this development is for him to become appointed the selling agent for all these units. Right. Sadly, the development is not being funded as easily or readily as it might otherwise be. And so our real estate agent turns to our plaintiff, our investor, to seek an additional investment. And that additional investment, is in the sum of about $2.4 million. It's significant. And so what our real estate agent does as part of these back and forth negotiations is he attempts to induce this investor into the arrangement. And one of the incentives, one of the inducements, is that he does some sums and he thinks about a referral fee that he would normally pay in respect of commissions like this. And he arrives at a figure of about $500,000. And he says to the investor, he says, right, I will pay to you $500,000 in exchange for you coming into this deal and making this investment in order for it to go ahead. And that's going to make sense, I'm sure, because it's in this estate agent's interest. The only way the estate agent's going to get any money is if the development goes ahead, he's appointed selling agent and he starts selling. So he says, right, I'm going to pay you $500,000. And what he also does is he enters into two solemn written agreements, and I use the word agreements loosely because one of the documents is a deed, where he says, unconditionally, I will pay to the investor $500,000 regardless of whether the development goes ahead or not. Okay. The development does not go ahead in the way anticipated, and the real estate agent's friend, and I use friend in the loose sense, his connect, sells the development before it is finished off to another developer. Our poor old real estate agent does not get appointed as selling agent, but our investor turns his attention to the agreements, and I use agreements again in a loose sense, noting that one of them's a deed, and says, well, I don't care about that. You promised me unconditionally to pay $500,000. Where is it? And what our estate agent says is, oh, no. That promise was only if I was to be appointed selling agent for these homes, right? I'm not going to get any money out of this thing unless I'm the selling agent. So why would I be off promising to pay you $500,000 if I'm getting zero and I'm paying $500,000 for nothing? Well, the answer from the investor is, well, that's not my concern. The fact is you agreed to pay it. And the court had to work through the facts here. And the court also said that both the real estate agent and the investor were astute business people, and that the investor was not afraid to use the whip hand, knowing that he had power in the commercial relationship, knowing that the investment, the development, was at risk, knowing that he was able to press sharply for commercial terms in his favour. He did so press. One of those commercial terms was $500,000 from the real estate agent. In the written agreements, it was unconditional, meaning that the real estate agent was not able to point to a condition saying, I'll only pay if the development goes through. And what that meant for the court was, the court said, well, you have unconditionally promised to pay $500,000. The investor is going to hold you to your promise. You are obliged to pay it. So our poor old real estate agent lost and had to pay the $500,000. Now, just as a bit of a gloss on that, the real estate agent raised a number of arguments attempting to defend the claim. He said, oh, it's unconscionable that I should have to pay this amount. and he failed in that argument. The reason he failed is that he wasn't able to point to any particular pressure or coercion in him entering into these agreements that clearly said it's unconditional. He abandoned his misleading and deceptive conduct claim, as the court found rightfully, and he made a rectification claim on the basis that there was a common mistake between the parties, on the basis that, well, obviously the parties anticipated no payment would be made on the 500 grand unless the development went through, and he was unable to prove that either. And so what we have that the court very constructively sets out at the start of the judgment that I'll direct you to, it's a fairly good judgment, forgive me. Lots of friends buzzing around today, is that even in cases where you've got two astute business people dealing with each other in a sharp and commercial way, you can have someone who drives a hard bargain, and if that hard bargain is struck, both parties will be held to it. And that was the outcome today. I hope that note assisted you, and I look forward to joining you again soon for another coffee and another case note. Cheers.